Admiral Kira Vuss stood on the bridge of the ISS Valiant, the hum of its fusion reactors thrumming beneath her boots. Through the reinforced viewport, the void stretched endlessly, stars scattered like distant embers against a tapestry of midnight. This sector lay at the frontier of consortium space, uncharted, sparsely patrolled, and whisper quiet. Perfect for routine reconnaissance. Perfect for an ambush. Her crew busied themselves at their stations, eyes flicking between the holographic star charts and their sensor consoles. Lieutenant Arden, the tactical officer, traced an errant blip coalescing on their long-range scanner. "Admiral," he said, voice low but urgent, "I'm picking up an unexpected return signal at bearing 43 Mark 12. No transponder, no life sign. Signature yet, it's massive. Comparable in scale to a dreadnought." Kira's brow furrowed. "Show me." The star map zoomed in. Against the grid, a faint angular silhouette pulsed into view, ghostly at first, then crystalline as if it were phasing into reality. The lines of its hull were unmistakably human. The sleek geometry of pre-Great Wars warships, alloy plating, etched with heat dissipation grooves, turret emplacements crafted for heavy-caliber beam cannons. But all registry data listed those classes as decommissioned centuries ago. "Impossible," murmured Chief Engineer Marisol Tan. Her diagnostic display flickered. "It's online. Systems appear ancient, but fully functional. Yet our signature. Scans show no energy fluctuations, no warp field, no subspace drive activity." Kira pressed her gloved hand to her comm panel. "All frequencies open: military, civilian, even emergency channel Alpha 7. A familiar static hiss answered. 3 long seconds passed. Then silence. "Nothing," Arden reported. Kira squared her shoulders. "Keep trying. Sensors, focus on its shield harmonics. Weapons teams, stand by for possible engagement." Before anyone could respond, the bridge jostled with a low-frequency thrum. Each console's holodisplay rippled as though struck by an invisible wave. Warning klaxons blared as shield integrity across the fleet flickered and collapsed, one sector after another. "Shields down," cried the communications officer. "We've lost defensive status." "Engine output dropping," yelled Marisol. Power flux in the main conduit diverted somewhere else. Kira's heart pounded. She slammed her fist onto the command dais, forcing herself calm. "All hands, brace for impact. Initiate emergency power protocol, redirect auxiliary reactors to life support and comms." A strobing glow pulsed through overhead lights as the Valiant sagged like a wounded leviathan. Through the viewport, the mysterious warship drifted closer. Silent and imposing, dozens of accompanying frigates, each battle-scarred but clearly outmatched, floated listlessly in formation. On the tactical screen, a single message materialized in bold crimson letters. "Attention Consortium Fleet. Stand down or be destroyed." It echoed over every channel simultaneously. The voice clipped, modulated human, yet somehow alien in cadence. Kira swallowed. "Identify transmission source. Is it hail, threat, or trap?" "We can't pinpoint an antenna," Arden replied. "It's as if the entire hull is broadcasting this message." The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. In that weightless moment, the realization struck. They were outgunned, outmaneuvered, and blind. The warship's appearance had been too swift, its attack too precise. There would be no time to strategize. "Admiral," the operations officer whispered, "they've moved into attack range." Kira took a deep breath, steeling herself as the viewport lit with the eerie glow of charged particle beams charging along the enemy's battery lines. Her jaw set with resolve. "Helm bring us to defensive formation Alpha 9. Weapons, prepare point defenses. If they fire on us, we fire back." "And comes," she added, voice hard as tempered steel. "Keep trying for dialogue." As the Valiant, shuddered under the weight of that silent, looming warship. Kira realized the truth. Whatever mysteries lay within those ancient hulls, there would be no second chances. The fleet never had time to react, but she would find a way to fight back. The Valiant's bridge was bathed in pulsing red alert lights. Every console flickered under the strain of eroded power, and the artificial gravity throbbed like a heartbeat on its last legs. Admiral Voss stood at the viewport, watching the enigmatic warship loom closer. Its hull, dark as obsidian and etched with age-worn plating, drifted almost serenely through the void, yet the silence was a lie. Beneath it lay a coiled threat. Kira frigate. Kira called into her com. Report. Static crackled. Hull breaches along Deck 3 and bow section. We've lost grav plating crew are unsecured. Life support at 20%. A wave of nausea hit her. Dozens of Allied vessels around the Valiant bore similar wounds, each crippled by that unseen pulse. No missiles, no torpedoes. Just a silent hammer strike to their shields and reactors. Engineers, Kira barked. I want every reserve reactor tapped. Get those grav plates back online. We're not drifting dead in space. Chief Engineer. Marisol Tan's fingers flew over her panel, redirecting power from non-essential systems. Hull integrity field is back at 30%. Just enough to keep us from tearing apart. Kira nodded. Good. Marines? Status? The operations officer punched in a sequence. 5th Marine Company prepped in Hangar Bay 2. All squads in exosuits, weapons hot. Boarding ramps locked and ready. On my mark, Kira said. Each syllable sharpened the tension on the bridge. She turned to Lieutenant Arden. Tactical. Can you track their drop craft? On the tactical display, tiny triangular signatures blossomed like hornets from the warship's belly. At least 30 of them, their anti-grav thrusters flickering as they descended. Closing fast, Arden said. Range 300 meters? 250. A distant rumble echoed along the hull as the first drop craft slammed into the Valiant's flight deck, sending shockwaves through the structure. The viewport rattled. Below deck, Marines floated into walls and equipment racks with sickening thuds. Marines are on board. Came the hangar deck comes. They're moving toward the starboard lift. Lock bulkheads, Kira ordered. Seal the hangar. Divert all internal power to security grids. Up on the bridge, the Valiant pitched as its thrusters sputtered back to life. Outside, the enemy drop craft formed a tight ring, their ramp doors whirring open to reveal armed figures standing at rigid attention. Each wore black armor glinting, with the same aged alloy as the mothership, visors reflecting the Valiant's red alarms in cold, unblinking mirrors. Open a secure channel, Kira said. The communications officer keyed her console and held her breath. For a tense beat, there was only silence broken, finally by a calm, masculine voice. Admiral Voss, this is Captain Elias Trent of the I-Ice Vindicator. Your defenses have been rendered inoperative. We offer you one chance. Surrender all offensive arms, power down your fleet, and allow us peaceful boarding. We mean no harm to your people. Our quarrel is not with humanity, but with the secrets long buried under consortium law. Kira's jaw clenched. The offer hung in the air like a guillotine's blade. It promised safety, but also complete subjugation. As behind her, the Valiant's security bulkheads hissed shut, and Marines readied themselves on the decks above. She realized the next few moments would decide not only the fate of her ship, but the destiny of two human civilizations on a collision course. Silence reigned again, more menacing now that words had been spoken. Outside the viewport, the black armored boarding parties waited. Inside, every heartbeat counted. And in the cold vacuum of space, there would be no second warning before the storm broke. The hatch sealed with a pneumatic hiss, and the Valiant shuddered as her security grids hummed to life. Admiral Kira Vuss leaned forward, staring at the viewport where Captain Trent's black-armored Marines formed an ordered line against the canvas of stars. The ring of dropcraft behind them glowed with anti-grav runes. The distant warship hung like a sentinel in the void. "Admiral," Trent's voice came through the secure channel, calm and measured. "We await your decision." Kira drew a deep breath. Around her, the bridge crew held steady, weapons locked. On the ramp, where the boarding parties stood ready, but for what? Execution or parley? A lifetime of protocol urged her to fire the first shot. Survival demanded she choose peace. "Captain Trent," she replied, voice firm, "I accept your terms. We will power down our offensive systems, release your team's safe passage, and stand down our fleet. In turn, I request full diplomatic engagement aboard your flagship. Our people must speak face to face." "Understood." Trent's tone softened just fractionally. "We will comply. Prepare your delegation for immediate transport." Seconds later, the Valiant's hangar lights shifted from red to amber as her power grids rebalanced. Weapon shutters slid closed. Point defense turrets retracted. Outside, Trent's Marines loosened their grips on their rifles, though their posture remained disciplined. In the hangar bay, a team of unarmed envoys comprising Kira, Lieutenant Arden, Chief Engineer Tan, and the Valiant's senior xenolinguist, Dr. Sericho, strapped into an unmarked personnel pod. Through its reinforced viewport, they could see Trent himself, standing at the threshold of his drop craft, rifle holstered, helmet under one arm. "Safe travels," he said. "I look forward to answers." The pod's anti-grav coils engaged, and they floated free, passing through the open hatch toward the looming shape of the IS Vindicator. A pulse of magnetic clamps drew them securely inside. Inside Trent's flagship, the atmosphere was cool and muted. Hallways of dark steel and polished obsidian led to a central atrium where hollow projections of distant star systems traced the roots of centuries-old Exodus efforts. Around the chamber, human faces young and old, human features both familiar and subtly altered by generations of isolation, watched the newcomers with a mixture of curiosity and wariness. Trent gestured to a raised dais. "Admiral Vuss, welcome. These are the Council of the Vindicator, the living memory of the Soul Exodus." Kira took a tentative step forward. "Thank you, Captain. Please, tell me of your journey and why you have returned now." An elder counselor cleared her throat. Her hair was streaked with silver, her uniform bearing the emblem of a phoenix rising from a shattered planet. "We fled Earth during the final cataclysm," she began, voice rich with gravitas. "The Vindicator and her sister ships carried the last remnants of humanity into the silent depths beyond known space. We sought refuge, but warp storms and sensor shadows hid us from the galaxy. Over generations, our people rebuilt knowledge, preserved in crystalline data archives, history passed in ritual, but our connection to the human sphere faded." Kira listened, enthralled. "All this time, you survived alone. Alone and growing strong," the counselor continued. "Yet, we discovered dark truths encoded in the Archivum Soul. The Consortium's founding fathers erased our lineage from history to cement their power. We could not allow such a lie to stand, and so we returned to reclaim what was ours." A murmur rippled through Kira's officers. Recognition dawned. The pulse that crippled their fleet had been precision engineered, targeting Consortium tech. Signatures alone. This was not an act of mindless aggression, but a surgical strike to enforce attention. Trent nodded towards the viewport. "We never sought to destroy pure lives. We disabled your war capability to compel dialogue. If you'd reacted with weapons firing at will, we would have responded in kind." Kira's heart pounded. "You risked genocide to prove a point." "Were It necessary. Trent's eyes were steady, but it need not be. Silence fell, heavy with the weight of unspoken possibilities. Then Kira exhaled slowly. The consortium owes you restitution. Your sovereignty must be recognized, your people given seats at the council. In return, you must abide by our treaties on biosafety, trade, and defense. Trent allowed a small nod of respect. Agreed. As diplomatic envoys unfurled treaty parchments on a crystalline table, the two commanders stood side by side and watched the holographic projection of Earth spinning in starlight. Millennia-old scars marred its surface, but the blue-green orb glowed with promise. In that moment, amid the hush of engines and the chorus of distant galaxies, humanity's fractured lines began to weave together once more. The mysterious warship had appeared with force enough to annihilate an armada, but it chose instead to build a bridge. And through that fragile path of trust, a new chapter of human destiny would dawn. The treaty signatures glowed softly on the crystalline table, their ink magnetically bonded to the surface like threads weaving two worlds together. Admiral Vos and Captain Trent stepped back, the assembled envoys and counselors leaning in to share a moment of triumph and cautious hope. Above them, the Vindicator's grand observation dome slid open. Starlight flooded in, illuminating faces lined with generations of hardship and resilience. Below, the Valiant and its battered escorts floated side by side with the newcomer fleet, their hulls casting dancing reflections across the void. Kira allowed herself a rare smile. Today, we stand not as conqueror and exile, but as partners in charting humanity's future. May this day mark the true rebirth of the Soul Accord. A ripple of applause rose, echoing in the vast chamber. Then, with a gracious bow, Trent replied, "And may our descendants know only unity, not division." A new alliance. Over the next standard cycle, engineers from both fleets worked in tandem. Consortium scientists marveled at the Vindicators, preserved pre-war quantum cores, while Vindicator historians studied the consortium's database labyrinth, uncovering centuries of lost lore. Halls that once echoed with tension now buzzed with shared purpose. In Hangar Bay 3, Lieutenant Arden oversaw the melding of technologies, hybrid drive prototypes that combined the Valiant's fusion thrusters with the Vindicator's ancient warp nacelles. "If this works," he mused to Chief Engineer Tan, "we'll slip between star systems like sailing the solar wind." Marisol grinned. "Then the galaxy better watch out for Team Human. Shadows linger, but peace bore its own challenges." Factions within both fleets bristled at the alliance. Hardliners in the consortium Senate decried alien insurgents, while isolationists among the Vindicator saw the Accord as betrayal. Intelligence reports flagged covert sabotage, minor reactor surges on the Vindicator, cryptic data wipes. In the consortium network, one evening in the war room, Kira studied a holomap streaked with anomalies. Trent joined her at the console, concern shadowing his features. "They tried to overload the aft warp coils," he said. "Add the containment. Failed, He didn't finish." They both knew the cost. Kira nodded. "We'll need joint security details. I'll assign a detachment of Valiant Marines to your council guard. You send your sentinels aboard my flagship." She tapped a panel. "This alliance must be defended internally, as well as externally." Beyond the horizon, weeks turned to months. Word of the new human alliance spread through the consortium's outer colonies, igniting sparks of curiosity and fear in equal measure. In the great star lanes, freighters painted in hybrid livery now bore the dual sigils of Earth and Vindicator symbols of a united humanity venturing forth. On the observation deck of the newly christened HMS Concordia, Kira and Trent stood side by side. Below, the combined fleet assembled for the maiden voyage of their joint exploration task force. Behind them, the crystalline projection of the treaty floated like a beacon, its text unreadable except to those who dared to bridge past enmities. Trent placed a hand on the viewport's cool glass. "I never thought I'd see this day," he murmured. Kira's eyes shone. "Neither did I, but here we are on the threshold of tomorrow." Beyond the glass, stars beckoned. Unknown worlds lay waiting, untold wonders and perils mingled in the cosmic deep. The fleet's engines ignited in unison, a symphony of light and power that rippled outward across the void. As the Concordia surged forward, carving a new path through the galaxy, humanity's future glimmered bright, a tapestry woven from ancient exile and modern courage, bound by the promise that even in the darkest reaches, unity could light the way.